Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back to another round of candle reviews. I hope your day is off to a fantastic start. I'm gonna have two candle reviews going live today. This first one here, obviously, we are going to be discussing Kringle Reserve Vanilla Rose Cone. And a little bit later on today, I will have another review for you of a Nest candle. So if you are not already subscribed to my channel and you are interested in some more home fragrance content, definitely make sure you hit that little red subscribe button right below this video here. That way all of my home fragrance content will pop up in your subscription feed as it goes live here on my channel. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive right into Reserve Vanilla Rose Cone. First of all, I actually missed this one the first time that it was launched on the website because I think I slept in. A lot of the candle releases that Kringle does usually happen around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I'm on the West Coast, so that's just a little earlier than I like to get up. I get up pretty early in the morning because I have a kid, and so, you know, I kind of have to get my day going. But I do try to get as much sleep as I possibly can, and a lot of times I just can't force myself to sit in front of the computer that early in the morning just for a candle release. So this was one of the ones where, unfortunately, even though I got out of bed pretty soon after the launch, I ended up missing it. And I was so bummed because I thought this sounded like the most interesting, unique concoction. So a lot of time went by and they just never really restocked it. And then finally they did. And as soon as there was a restock, my friend Fiona let me know and I went ahead and placed my order. And I'm so glad that I did. You guys, I'm really enjoying this one. And I have to tell you that when I first got it, I did have a little bit of an initial like, ooh, no type of reaction because it was so insanely light on cold sniff. I really want you to give this one a chance because based off of what I smelled at first, I thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a total dud. I very rarely have duds, especially in the Reserve line, but this one was so light. So I went ahead and let it sit for, I think a couple of months before I finally decided to light it up. I do personally have the experience where I think sometimes if you let a candle sit for a little bit rather than lighting it up right after receiving it, sometimes I feel like the fragrance oils can kind of almost intensify in a way. That's not the case for every single candle brand, but you know, it works for me with a lot of my Homeworks candles. And so I figured this one, I'm gonna go ahead and let it sit for a little while because again, it was so light that I almost couldn't really tell what I was smelling initially. So I finally decided to light it up and I'm telling you guys, light it up. Don't judge this one based off of just the cold sniff first impression, light it up. This one is so much stronger than I ever expected it to be. And it's a very unique, very interesting take on a rose fragrance. So let's go ahead and go through this one. We're gonna go ahead and read the scent description, talk about the fragrance notes, top, middle, and bottom. I'll tell you what my nose actually detects here. We'll talk strength and throw, and then we'll talk about any like burn issues if there were any. Full disclosure, I usually rarely struggle with the Kringle soy formulation, so there's not much to talk about there, but we'll go ahead and address that anyway towards the end. All right, you guys, let's read through the scent description. A creamy vanilla and sandalwood base wrapped in a delicious baked waffle cone, which is delicately blended with a subtle rose heart and citrusy top note. The top notes are citrus accord and apple blossom. The mid notes are just sheer rose, that's it. The base is vanilla waffle cone and sandalwood. Okay, so what did I smell on cold sniff? I feel like on cold sniff, I just smelled like the faintest hint of rose. It was a nice rose, definitely a slightly more modern take on rose. I wouldn't call this an old-fashioned rose scent at all. It doesn't smell like an old lady perfume or anything like that. It smells really kind of, I don't want to say crisp because that's not really the word for it. It's like it's a slightly powdery rose, but done in a more modern way. I'm not quite sure how to word that, but I just want to like stress that this does not smell like an old-fashioned rose perfume at all. It's really, really beautiful. But that was really all that I could initially smell. However, once I lit this up, it immediately transformed into the most beautiful waffle cone note. I don't get a like vanilla ice cream note here per se. I do think there is maybe a little bit of like a slightly floral vanilla floating in the background, but it's not overly sweet. But that waffle cone note is definitely present. So is that gorgeous rose. And I also smell the sandalwood. And really, in terms of those top notes of the citrus accord and the apple blossom, they're just not there for my nose at all. I don't detect anything remotely citrusy here, or even another type of floral note. Rose is really where this one kind of stops with the floral notes for me personally. I think there is a really nice balance though between the rose and the waffle cone, with the sandalwood kind of being in the background and tying the two together. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think this would be considered a really exotic scent because, like I said, it doesn't have a whole lot going on in terms of a bunch of fragrance notes. But it is an interesting combination. Typically, you don't find a lot of florals and gourmands paired together. And this is just so pleasing to my nose. It kind of takes me back to Pink Petal Tea Cake, which was sort of my own personal introduction to mixing florals with gourmands, if you will. And initially I thought there's no way that's gonna work, but it does, you guys. Florals and certain gourmands do go hand in hand really beautifully. And this is one of those cases where it's absolutely stunning. I'm just a really huge fan of this particular rose here. Like I said, it's soft, it's pretty, it's slightly powdery, but it's not old-fashioned. And it's really kind of a more youthful rose for sure. And the waffle cone smells like a legit waffle cone from an ice cream shop. It's such a familiar, comforting scent to my nose, and it's perfectly executed here. And like I said, that sandalwood just kind of floats around in the background to kind of tie the two together, and it's perfection. I cannot get enough of this one. I'm so glad that it's still in stock. So when I run out of this one, this is one of those reserve fragrances that if it's available when the time comes, I will be placing another order. I don't think this is going to be the fragrance for everybody. Listen, if you just don't like rose period and you think you're maybe mostly gonna get like vanilla or waffle cone out of this, I think you're definitely gonna smell the rose. So you have to like rose. It's something where if you're a little iffy about it, I think it would be worth taking a chance on, because it's not a complete like knock you out of the house, like powerhouse type of fragrance. It is a softer scent, but it is very detectable, but not in a way that I think is gonna be headache inducing. I know that rose can be headache inducing for a lot of people. I don't think that's the case here. Now, in terms of strength and throw, I'm gonna place this in the solid like 7 out of 10 for strength and throw. This one is very noticeable when you walk into a room, but not in a super aggressive way. It just kind of almost magically hangs in the air, and it just smells so pretty. This is a very feminine fragrance, I will say, and it's something that just makes me feel, I don't know, a little bit more like a fancy lady when I light it up. It's really beautiful and very, very detectable when you walk into the room. It also definitely travels. It does not fill the entirety of the downstairs of my house. I do have a somewhat open concept, very high ceilings for sure, type of layout. And so sometimes it can be hard to fragrance this house, depending on the airflow. But this one here does want to travel outside of the area where I'm burning it. So I do have to be just a little bit mindful about what I have going in the other areas of the house. For example, I had the Kringle Reserve Orange going in the formal living room and this one in the family room the other day. And that wasn't a great combination together. Orange is not a good pairing for this one. So, but I think if you have either other florals, maybe that pair nicely with rose, that would be lovely to burn alongside. Or if you have maybe another gourmand, if you have a really nice vanilla or something that smells like a sugar cookie or a vanilla cake type of fragrance, I think that would be a lovely pairing here. But you do have to be somewhat mindful about what you have going at the same time. That being said, you guys, this one here, just overall, the performance, the fragrance, and even the overall burn is gonna get 2 big thumbs up for me. There have been no issues with sooting or discoloration here. I will say today I trimmed the wicks a little bit shorter than I should have. I should have used maybe a pair of scissors, but I used my old school Yankee Candle wick clipper things, and yeah, I got down a little further on that wick than I wanted to. But I do think that the Kringle Reserve candles, when I have done that in the past, they have recovered. So I'm just gonna kind of let this one go, but absolutely no burn issues here. Very clean, delightful, beautiful, an amazing scent for spring. I think it would be a really unique choice for summer as well. But being a seasonal burner, if I run out of this one maybe towards the end of like July or August, at that point I would probably just refrain from purchasing another one until the following spring. But if you're not a seasonal burner, definitely if this one's available year round, pick it up. For me, being a little bit more seasonal, this has been fantastic for the spring, and I also think it's going to be lovely throughout the summer as well. So I cannot say enough good things about this one, and I'm just really glad that it kind of redeemed itself after the initial cold sniff first impression, because I really thought that this was going to be my first complete dud from Kringle, but it's not. So if you get this one and you think it's really light on cold sniff, my suggestion would be definitely let it sit for a little while, and then go ahead and light it up. It transforms. It's really beautiful. I have not had this one in a hurricane, so I'm not sure if the strength and throw would improve in a hurricane. I've just had it sitting on my, I have a smaller size of the Chester Hurricane where I broke the glass portion of it. So it's just a little pedestal. I've just had it sitting on there in the family room for the most part, and it does just fine on its own. So anyway, 2 thumbs up. Let me know your experience with Kringle Reserve Vanilla Rose Cone in the comments down below. Be sure to check out the description box for the link on where to shop with Kringle Candle, as well as the discount code. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.